Today, I'm going to talk about the trend on translation technology. So, first of all, I would like to introduce what is translation technology. Okay, so we make use of technology, that is the advanced development on technology to help us to do translation. Actually, so that the idea of translation technology is mainly that how we make use of different tools to help us to improve our translation, including the effectiveness and efficiency. And then the ultimate goal is to help us to increase the productivities in translation. So now, I think nowadays we don't do translation from scratch by human beings, right? Because it's too time consuming. So most of us, we try to make use of translation technology to help. So by definition, okay, that's what is translation we need to know, right? So translation is that we have to transform something, okay, a text basically from a source language. It should be a natural language into another language, okay, one or more target languages. So we have to keep the equivalent meaning as the source language, right, in the target language output. So by referring equivalence, that we have to make sure the message, including the translation, is the same, okay, or similar, okay, to those the writer or speaker intend to convey. So in that case, that some things, okay, that's not merely literal translation. So we have to also take care of the cultural aspects. So in these cases, we try to make use of the technology to do the translation, but still we need human beings to assist maybe in post-editing or how to make use of it effectively. So by saying technology, that we refer most likely would be those software that we can install in our machine, anything okay related to artificial intelligence, or nowadays most popular ones would be mobile apps that you store in your mobile device, and then also websites, okay, can be kind of technology which can help you, that online search tools or online machine translation tools. So at the moment, okay, so the translation technology may refer to different aspects. Okay, so today I will focus on CAT, computer-aided translation, and localization, and also I will briefly introduce the other. So mainly would be machine translation. So machine translation is totally automatic, that you make use of Google Translate, right? So that you can automatically translate a text and then into a target language. And then CAT is a tool to help us to do translation. I would introduce in details, and then localizations, and also speech translation and image translation. So speech translation, usually we use it when we travel, right? We can make use of the device, maybe an app, okay, that you speak to the device, and then it would translate your speech into another language to help you to communicate with foreigners. And image translation, if you have tried apps from Google or Microsoft, then you can just put your camera, okay, over certain words, okay, that it can automatically just like mouse over, okay, that it would translate the text for you in a target language, or you can capture photos and then it would help you to translate. So it is very convenient, right? So today we will focus on the second and the third one, okay? But I also would like to introduce a bit on machine translation first. So by definitions, machine translation is that we apply, okay, the application of computers to the translation of text from one natural language into another. That is, how we apply the computer to help us to translate from one natural language text to another. And the attempt to automate all or parts of the process of translating from one human language to another. Nowadays, I believe all the machine translation, I can say more, all, okay, should be totally automatic, right? They can help you to automate all parts of the translation, so that you input a piece of text or multiple pieces of text, and then it would help you to generate maybe single language or multilingual target language text, so that it's completely generated the whole piece of text in the target language for you. So some typical examples, I think some of you may be familiarized with, like Google. Okay, you go online and then you type in a text or input a files, and then it would help you to translate. Microsoft Bing. And then I think for Chinese, okay, that if you want to translate between English and Chinese, nowadays Baidu is very good, okay. And then Yandex, a few years ago, Yandex is not very good, okay. It's originated from Russian, and then nowadays it performs quite well, okay. The standard is quite good, okay. And then Sichuan is another one, okay. Is a applications or a machine translation tools has the longest history in the development of machine translation. So basically, it equips with large amount of domain-specific dictionary. Okay, if you buy their license, also they provide the online versions for you to test. So for computer-aided translation, one of the topics we want to compare with localization today is that machine translation is totally automatic. Okay, it helps you to generate the output, okay, in target language completely. And CAT is the other way around. Okay, that we make use of the computer to serve what we call as a storage. You store your previously translated data, and then to help, okay, making use of these data to help your future translation, right? So in that case, that usually it would be used by professional translator. So nowadays, most of the translation firm, okay, companies, they would make use of computer-aided translation tools. Later, we will talk about more. There are many examples, okay, that you can buy the license or you can try online and help you to store your previously translated data. So we make use of language independent CAT tools to work on translation. So usually these are what we call translation memory management system, that you store your previously translated data into aligned database. Okay, aligned, these database, we call it translation memory. So that CAT tool actually are those translation memory management system, help you to manage your translation memory. Okay, how you store, how you organize your data. You can classify into different domain specific TM, or you can, according to your client or according to different project, you can create different TM. And even, okay, it can be translator specific. Okay, each translator has her or his own translation style so that he or she can keep his own translation memory. So typical CAT tools, now I want to talk about later. At the end, I would introduce the products a little bit. Okay, I'm not advertising, okay, any product, but I would like to introduce briefly, okay, on what are the current trend, okay, what are the outcomes on the market, okay. So the first one would be Trados. Okay, Trados was initially called Trados, right, and then later it merged with SDL and it become SDL Trados. Nowadays, it's distributed under RWS. So, we call it RWS Trados, okay, or just simply call it Trados. Okay, so it has the major market shares on the CAT market, so that it's very popular and many translators use it. Okay, and the other one is called Mansource. Mansource is very popular recently, within these 2 years, and then these few years, I think. This year they changed the name, okay, because they merged with Phrase. Phrase is a localization tool, so they merged with Phrase into one company, and then they rename, okay, Mansource as Phrase TMS. Okay, so and the other one is WordFast. Okay, also have a very long history in the development of CAT tools. So it has two versions mainly. Okay, the first one is WordFast Anywhere, which is free of charge and then provide online platform. And the other one is WordFast Pro. Okay, it's the translation memory platform, which you have to buy the license. Okay, another one is Deja Vu, also from France. Later I would discuss a bit. And then SmartCat is also very popular across. Okay, worth to try, and then MemoQ, etc. So for localization, okay, is a relatively newer idea, okay, than CAT and machine translation. So by definition, what is localization? Localization is all about, okay, by Esling, okay, she referred to localization is all about customizing things. Okay, that's including user manual for product, especially software, and then products themselves for a local audience. Because localization individualize the individualization of localization. Okay, is an idea that companies want to sell their software product to other countries. Okay, with other target audience, okay, target customers. So they have to translate all the text related to the product, okay, in order to make their clients know, okay, what the product is about, okay, user manual and how to use it, and online help, etc. So that's why they come up with the idea localization. They localize according to the target locale, we call it, okay, that is according to the language used in a specific country or local, okay, so for those audience. So a relatively newer definitions would be it is what we call linguistic and cultural adaptations, okay, of digital content to the requirement and locale of a foreign market. That is because they aim to sell particular product or service to a foreign market. So based on particular locale, they do the translation. But in that case, because recently most of the data are digital and then worldwide, so that most of the localization developer, okay, they tend to just do something, okay, to adapt to linguistic and cultural differences, okay, between the different languages when they translate. So it become an idea just like that they have to adapt the linguistic and cultural of the digital context into another locale. So the provisions of service and technology for the management of multilingualism across the digital global information flow. Okay, this would be a newer definitions that to adapt the linguistic and cultural differences, okay, between languages. So the ultimate goal in doing localization is that we have to, because it's the idea is from business, right? They want to sell the product and maybe idea or services, so that they have to maximize the quality, okay, in terms of translation, and then the user interface, okay, would be of good quality, and then they have to maximize the quality and quantity, okay, that is how many locales they can cover, that is how many languages, right? So if you just do one editing and then you can translate into multilingual, that would save much time. And then the other idea would be simship, that is simultaneous shipment. That is when you want to release a product or release an app, okay, then perfectly that it should be when you release at the same time simultaneously that you can release that multilingual version of the product. Just like a website, you can select different language, okay, of the website when it release, okay. For example, if it is a website introducing a company's product, so that it when it first release, you can choose, okay, which language you want to read. So simship is the idea, okay, within localization that we want simultaneous shipment, and then while minimizing the time and overall cost. That means we want to minimize the cost and time efforts we put in localization, but we can translate into different languages in order to sell the product at a simultaneous, okay, release, okay, when the product release. So when we compare the idea of localization and pure, okay, traditional translation, okay, what are the difference? So for similarities, that both localizer and translator adapt products and text, okay, the text or documents within the product related to product linguistically and culturally, so they can be understood in different locales. That is just what I mentioned. That is when they sell to other countries, they focus on specific language. They have to make sure the customers know, okay, what the product is about, okay, how to use it. So they basically, okay, translate everything according to the linguistic content and the cultural content of the target language, right? So it's similar, okay, as translator, we also translate the language according to the target language linguistic features and cultural aspects. But translation here does not necessarily deal with digital material. So nowadays we want to classify, okay, between localization and translation. We mainly focus on whether it involves a lot of digital materials. If by nature, okay, the translation task is not merely translating pieces of text, but it involves a lot of digital material. For example, software, mobile apps, okay, and website, okay, you have to deal with other digital materials. You have to make sure you can extract those texts, okay, or linguistically and culturally specific text that you need to translate. Then you have to do localization instead of pure translation, because you have to take care of the digital content, okay, of the nature, okay, of the text, maybe the product or services. So there has been 4 main differences, okay, between translation and localization according to Essling. The first one is activities. The second one is complexities. The third one would be adaptation level, and the fourth would be technology used. So by comparing the activities, translation, usually we only have to translate materials, usually text. Okay, if for speech translation, it is speech. Okay, so we have to translate from one language into another language. And then we need terminology research, and we have to make sure those professional terms are translated consistently and absolutely correct. And editing, okay, that we have to proofread, okay, whether the translation is good or of good quality. And then we also have to take care of the page layout, because usually it has to be published into another target language. But for localization is usually a multilingual project management, okay? It's not mainly or simply text translation. You have to deal with the digital content, okay? You have to make sure after you translate or localize that for example, a software, okay, still work, okay? That it would not influence the functions of the particular maybe app, maybe software. So that would be important. Or the interface, okay? When you translate the text, maybe the length of the text would decrease or increase. Does the text still fit in the screen? Okay, that may be some consideration. So it's a multilingual project instead of a pure text translation that you don't have to take care of anything, but localization you have. So software and online help, okay, maybe one, okay, that's you have to engineer and testing. That is, after you localize and translate, you have to test whether it still works, okay, perfectly without any problems. Otherwise, you have to maybe ask the developer or the programmer, okay, in the company to debug it, okay, and then, or you have to adjust, okay, some setting in the translation. Conversion of translated document into other formats. Sometimes maybe if for example, you have to localize a theme, okay, just like you do subtitling, right? So that you have to fit the words, okay, within the screen, and then maybe in a game localization, okay, those tags, okay, after you translate, you have to fit in particular format to fit in the program of the game, okay. That would be, sometimes you have to convert the translation document into other formats. And here it mentioned a translation memory alignment and management, because even with localization, okay, we are doing translation, right? We can still make use of translation memory to help us to make the translation process more effective and efficient. So the previously translated term, phrase, that we can apply it again in another localization project. And multilingual product support, because usually localization projects, it would involve not only single target languages, right? If you release an app, right, you want multilingual. So you do once, okay, on the localization task of the translation, that it can apply to multilingual apps. Okay, for example, if it is an app, then you can apply to multilingual version, so that you should make sure, okay, if it is a mobile app, okay, that you should make sure that all mobile apps support, okay, multilingual documents, okay, to be displayed. Okay, that may be something you have to handle as well. And then translation strategy consulting, okay, how to translate to make it consistent and keep the quality, etc. So the second difference would be complexities. So for pure translation, we just have to translate the text. But for localization, okay, it includes different components. For example, you have to translate the text relevant to a software. For example, you use a software, for example, Microsoft Office, okay, you use an English version, but you want to use the Chinese version nowadays, okay, so that you have, when people do localization, they have to make sure all the menu, all the buttons, okay, all are translated perfectly and consistently throughout the whole software, okay. For example, Office, okay, it has Excel, Word, okay, PowerPoint, okay, it has different tools, so that you have to make sure all use the same translation consistently. And then a sample files, okay, some would need to redo, okay, the whole sample files in the target language. And then online help, okay, basically if you need, okay, to let your customer know that's what, how to use the product, okay, maybe, so that the online help should be translated accurately, okay, according to target language when you localize. Online and print document, and then also some materials related to product. If you have to concrete product, for example, if there is disc, okay, then the disc label and product boxes to be localized. And also multimedia demo, so video, so usually involves subtitling and dubbing, okay, then you have to translate into the target locale. So sometimes we need to update the source file several times during translation, because, for example, online help, okay, later we also have come across this example is when you want to show, okay, your user that how to use particular interface, okay, then you have to translate the text, right? And then you also show the screenshot of the interface. But in a localized version, for example, you translate from English to Chinese, then you have to recapture the photo with the translated menus, right? Instead of the original one, right? So that you have to take care of the step, okay, that's which one should be localized or translated first. Because you have to capture the screenshot, you have to translate that first so that you can capture the correct screenshot for the translated output. So have to maintain consistency between translation of different translator. Also, if many people work on the same project, and then planning localization projects need to take care of the dependency of completion of different tasks, as I mentioned. If you have to capture the screen, okay, of the localized software, you have to do the translation of the interface first, right? So that you capture, when you capture the screen, that all the titles, all the menus, all the buttons, okay, are translated already, so that you can make use of it to follow on the online help documentation. So the third area would be the adaptation level. So local characteristics of target markets, okay, have to be implemented. That is, you have to know, okay, that's your target market, okay, what are there any special characteristic you have to pay attention, okay, when you do localization. For example, language culture, okay, so some example would be in some movie, okay, that's some flag, okay, or some photos cannot be displayed, okay, that you have to take care when you translate, you have to shade it or omit it, okay, or sometimes colors have to be changed, okay, like that. And then some standard, okay, for example, character set for example, Chinese, okay, even in Hong Kong, we can have simplified Chinese and traditional Chinese. When you target Hong Kong market, okay, which locale you are focusing, whether you would use Cantonese or Mandarin or Putonghua, whether you would translate or make the text, okay, available in both, okay, traditional Chinese or simplified Chinese. What character sets are you using? UTF-8, Big 5, or GB, etc. Okay, so that you have to make sure after you localize all these tiny things, okay, works. Okay, for example, date and time format would be another, because some countries would use dates first and then month first, and then that would be different. And then currency, okay, here it mentioned if we have a project website, okay, for Hong Kong websites, okay, would the website automatically change the currency into Hong Kong dollar, or it keep or what would be the specific dollar. Okay, so this is very common. Okay, when we do online shopping, right? So many international companies, okay, if they do localization good, okay, so that they would usually, when you go to a local area, that is, for example, you search for the website of your local area, or when you change the delivery address, okay, they can automatically help you to update the currency. You don't have to choose it by yourself. Okay, so that would be the automatic localization. Okay, that's they help you to do so. So a truly localized product should be used to use what we call default setting for the target locale, that you change. Okay, you select the particular website of the country that it would change accordingly. You don't have to choose one by one. So for some marketing material or sample file, sometimes we have to rewrite completely because we have to take care of the culture of the target language, the target locale, instead of purely translate word for word. Okay, so that we sometimes we may do copywriting instead of pure translation. So the last features, okay, of localization is that the technology used. Okay, so because localization usually deal with digital content, so that we have to make sure that here is a integration of translation technology is more prominent than in translation for software localization. Because you pure translation, that you can just maybe you can make use of CAT to help you to store your data, and then you do the alignment, or when you translate, you increase the storage of more translation unit in your CAT. But for localization, usually you have to deal with the digital content, so that you most likely we would use localization tools, okay, or localizer, okay, to help us to extract, okay, all the text, okay, or cultural or linguistic related contents to be translated. So you extract all them out, okay, from those maybe programming files. So you don't deal with the programming files. You just deal with the text, and then after you translate, you can input back, okay, to the system. Then to make it integrate, okay, into the same software, maybe like that. Okay, so software and website localization usually have what we call highly repetitive and update regularly. Okay, so that highly repetitive content, okay, so because you have to repeat, okay, many things in different languages, and then usually, especially website and update and software, they would have different release. Okay, they according to different iOS. Okay, they would update frequently, so that maybe monthly and daily update. That's it. In using technology, that it help you to update automatically or simultaneously. So reuse of translation is needed in localization. But if you use CAT also, you can reuse translation unit in simple translation. So use TM, and then for localization, we usually use specific tools for software user interface and translation. So for those localization tools, usually they would create a small TM, okay, within your project, so that you can make use of the terms you translate or localize, and then you reuse it in other projects. So terminology extractions and management tool would apply for both, okay, CAT or localization. And then some CAT tool like WordFast, Stratos, Deja Vu, as we mentioned, and then and also both, okay, CAT and localization tools usually can work with MT, so that you can apply, okay, any suggestions from machine translation automatically. Then you can pre-translate, and then you modify the translation. So it would help you to reserve some time and effort, okay, to do other things, and then it can improve the efficiency and effectiveness. So that's for localization. Products usually are made easily localizable nowadays, because if the developer, okay, tend to localize their product, okay, maybe at the design they already have the idea, okay, they want to localize to certain locale, so they usually have to make, okay, the localization process easier to separate out, okay, the textual content for translation, and those other things like later we talk about its design and also programming, okay, that we separate translation from those areas, then we don't have to take care about that. So functionalities and contents are separate, and then globally acceptable content was used, okay, whenever possible. So if it is globally accepted content, we don't have, when we localize, we don't have to change it, right? So we would prefer, okay, to use globally acceptable content instead of local specific one, okay, so that you can save up your time and effort in doing localization process. So the main aim is to offer a what we call world ready out of the box product. That is, when you release the product, okay, that is already can be applied to any locale, okay, whenever language you use. So you don't have to localize. That would be the perfect case, right? So that you don't, yeah, that would be an ideal, right? So that you don't have to do any translation tasks. Okay, you just make it available in any locale. So developers start to use colors, symbols, sign, and size. Okay, that would be applied and accepted globally, so that you don't have to deal with the localization process. So that is actually is from an idea what we call internationalization. So when we design the product or design the service, when we design the website or app, we put it international available. Okay, that is, we don't use local specific words, okay, or representation, so that it can make it easier to localize. So the lower the adaptation effort, okay, the higher the potential earnings. So that to maximize the profits and save the time and effort in localization. So this is the overall aims, okay, of localization is still to reduce the localization to translation. That is, we don't want to take care too much, okay, on the digital content, just purely translate as minimal as possible, so that we don't have to take care too much on the cultural aspect, okay, cultural specific items, okay, related to the digital content. So localizers tend to reuse as much as possible from previous translation. So to process as much as possible, to translate as little as possible, so that we can save our time and effort in localization. So at the very beginning, when a product, when a website is released, okay, so that you plan to internationalize, so that we can minimize the cost in the localization. So changes to the source text were limited to an absolute minimal. That is, to try to minimize the efforts to change, okay, back from the source. Because when you localize, sometimes you will find something that you cannot, okay, translate properly, and then you change it, okay, then maybe you have to go back to the source text, okay, to change it, the source text accordingly, because of the digital content, okay. Then you have to eliminate, okay, what they call a domino effect, okay. One change in the source would trigger adaptation efforts in all of the multilingual versions of the particular apps or software or even website, so that we want to minimize, okay, these chances. So when we, okay, really have to compare between localization and CAT, as we mentioned, so by nature, they are different. So if the translation tasks involve a lot of digital content, and then the translation output have to be integrated, okay, with the digital content, then most likely we would choose localization tools instead of the traditional or plain, okay, translation memory management platform. Okay, so localization tools usually deal with localization content, and then the management would help you to manage the whole project. Okay, that's how they link to other parts, okay, of the translation of the localization project. And then it would provide a localization interface. I will show you at the end of the lecture, the talk, okay, that's some of the screenshots of the tools. And then plugins of other tools, okay, that's it usually link with different apps, okay, or other plugins to help you to work with the localization project. And simultaneous release, this is very critical because usually for digital content, it requires real-time release, okay, so that the best is that when you edit, anytime, anywhere you edit your apps or website, it can release simultaneously. Okay, so, and then translation memory within the project usually, because it's small, okay, and then it keep the translation within the TM in the localization project. And for CAT, computer aided translation, that usually we make use of it for translated text. So professional translator, they have a lot of human translated text, okay, maybe in written or electronic form. They can scan it, okay, into this CAT system, but they have to do alignment, right? So that to align the source and target language sentence by sentence or translation unit by translation unit, so that they can save in the TM for translation. So these CATs usually involve only, okay, translation project management with the translation memory. So it serves as the platform for the translation memory management, and then usually standalone. Okay, then this standalone means is stored in your machine. Okay, that it can be work offline, and then of course it also includes server client platform, not mainly standalone in installation. So update or maintain regularly. That is up to your preference. That you can update maybe monthly, weekly, or project by project. Okay, so that you can set a date or regular time. Okay, to update your system, update your CAT, update your time base. So it involves TM management instead of project digital project management. So localization, usually we applied on mobile apps, website, and multimedia, like games, okay, software, and then also a movie. Okay, nowadays it's very popular. Okay, so it focuses more on the project integrity, because you have to make sure the translated outcome can apply to the same app or website without influencing the functions, okay, the original functions of those apps or maybe the game, okay, or the screen, okay, that's a particular role, okay, in your game, in the RPG game, okay, maybe the characters speaking something, okay, then after you translate, does it change the screen, okay, like that, okay, that's what would be influenced, okay, that would be have to be taken care. And for CAT, usually a translation memory that you build and then maintain, okay, by a professional translator, and focus more on the translation quality of longer text, I think, okay, and then focus more on the reusability, that is, we reuse, okay, what we have translated and stored in the CAT tools. So, however, nowadays, as I mentioned, both tools, okay, localization and CAT tools can be equipped with MT engines. Some would be free of charge, okay, that you can choose, for example, particular software would link with particular MT engines. For example, Phrase has their own developed machine translation engine. WordFast, okay, work with WordLingo, okay, so that you can make use of it. And if you want to apply other machine translation engine, you have to apply your API key, and then you make use of the key that you can integrate, okay, to use in your CAT or localization tool. So it can help you to do pre-translate. You may ask, okay, you may run, okay, just a click usually, that's apply the machine translation to your text or a whole project. And then you just modify, and then, or you choose, okay, whether you adapt or you adopt the translation or not. And or the other way around, okay, you may compare with your translation memory first, and then you ask you click, okay, and ask the MT if there is any suggestions, if there is no match, like that, okay. So that nowadays I think all kind of software would integrate to use, okay, that you can combine the usage of both software. So localization tools can have their own project-based or custom-based, customer-based TM within the project. So for current trend, I think that most likely because of the nature, right? Because nowadays we have many text-related things or documents, okay, all contain or related to digital content, that everyone use mobile device, everyone have your own mobile phone, so that when we deal with translations of digital contents, we have to use localization tools. We don't purely translate unless, okay, we are doing professional translation for example, legal text or financial text, that we still, okay, that's those translation firm or translators still use CAT nowadays, but there are some changes, okay, to the platform of those CAT tools also. So I think maybe a relatively recent trend would be more and more application or more and more developer, okay, tend to develop on localization tools instead of CAT tool. So file contain text, graphics, audio and video in any product or services, okay, we need to deal with the digital content. So applications can be offline installation of software applications, and then can be websites, mobile apps, video games, and movie streams, okay, that we tend to use localization. So the digital content require what we call seamless integration. Okay, so these seamless integrations should be among the design. Okay, so these design usually will be graphics. That you may have some designer, okay, graphic designer to take care of the interface, the outlook, okay, of the apps or the website. Management, this refer to the whole project management, okay, how to integrate everything together, and then the deadline, okay, the course, etc. Translation, okay, so most likely for localization tools, the translation task would be done through localization tools with the help of TM. And then these TM usually are integrated within the localization tools. Or you can, okay, you can export, okay, you can save up the translation in particular files, usually in XLIF format, and then you can upload to, maybe export to CAT tool, or you can import your CAT to import your translation memory to the localization tools. That would also be fine, okay, that two-way. So and then it would have to integrate with also the programming, okay, if it is software or involve any programming, okay, that's we want to extract the translatable keys, okay, usually they refer to key, or translatable text, okay, that's out from the program, so that engineer take care of the programming, translator only have to take care of the translation. So the digital nature determine the flow and process in the localization project. That is mainly by the nature. Okay, what are the content you need to translate that you would tend to design, okay, what localization project you're going to create, and then what tools can help you, what plugin, okay, can be used, etc. So some features would be more favorable for localizations. The first one is repetitive content. Okay, that is because you can create a small scale translation memory within your localization tools. So if the content are very repetitive, then you can apply again and again. You don't have to spend too much time to read, okay, those translation one by one. Terminology and phrase translation is typical because usually you can imagine if in for a software, right? So all the items you have to translate, except those description, okay, usually would be the menu, right? The button. So that usually they are terms and phrases, okay, short phrases. So that is terminology database would be useful, okay, that you can keep in a translation memory, and as well as a terminology database that help you to apply the same content to be translated again and again. So a real-time dissemination. So this is very typical and very important in localization project, which is totally different. Okay, the major difference, okay, from CAT tools, because CAT you can suggest, okay, or you can set your own regular update time on how you maintain your CAT or translation memory, or every time you start a new project, you can create a brand new translation memory instead of release or edit the same one. But for localization tools, usually the simultaneous update and release of the maybe apps, okay, that would be very important. So here, I would like to introduce, okay, some of the current use, okay, that's most likely we use it, okay, that's translation technology system. There are a lot in the market, right? But some of those are more popular, okay, then I just introduced some of them, okay. So the first one for CAT, okay, would be Caritas, as I mentioned. So that I think many translators know this name because it has a very long history in the market of CAT tools. And then nowadays it works with the distributor called RWS. Okay, so originated from UK, and then it has been taking the major market share, about 18. I'm not sure nowadays. Okay, how much would be the percentage? Other tools, okay, coming up. Okay, so the major market share of the traditional translation memory management tools, that is CAT tools. So it has been widely used by professional translator. I think nowadays many professional translator and translation firms still use it. And then it was standalone. Okay, you install it on your machine, and then it has server client platform. But in the 2022 version, okay, that's the most updated one. They provide one called Trados Live, okay, LIVE Live, okay, which is that they provide a service or online access. That's when you buy the license, then you can have the account, okay, to online access your own client on server client platform or your standalone software. Okay, so that's because nowadays most of the software nowadays are online, okay, or cloud-based. Okay, so that they add this function, okay, that's that you can use online access to maintain or update your translation memory. They have a name called Language Cloud. Okay, so that you use the cloud-based to work with the translation memory. So this is the interface. Okay, they provide, okay, one features of CAT is usually they provide, especially those paid version, okay, that's the license version, they would give you the interface for editing your alignment. Okay, when you input source text and target text, okay, then it helps you to use their own alignment interface, okay, to correct all the alignment, and then you can upload the aligned translation unit into your translation memory. So this is the alignment interface, okay, of Trados. And the other interface here is show when you do translation in Trados, what it look like. Okay, for example, the English part here is the source language. It will search from your TM, okay, whether there is any match, and it show you here. Okay, then you can apply. You can do translation one by one, okay, by professional translator. And then you may, if there is no matches, then you may get suggestions from machine translations. And then you can select whether you adapt it or modify it, or you just start from scratch, or you translate from scratch. So the other one is also popular, okay, then many people use it, called SmartCat, and then originated from USA, and then it has a free trial. Okay, you can register their online platform, which is free, and then you can upload your own translation memory and glossary. So this is the interface that I think they don't provide the alignment tools for you. You can align and then upload your translation memory. Okay. They also have pay version, but we haven't get the license yet. Okay, so this is the online free version. And then you can do your translation. Okay, you can set up deadline, okay, for your project. Okay, you can specify source and target language. So here you say it also provides some like quality assurance. Another one is phrase, that is what I just mentioned, is former main source. Okay, so main source is getting more and more popular nowadays. I have heard a professional translator told me that when they review, okay, CV from junior translator, many of them claim that they know how to use main source. That's what does it mean? That means it is a very popular tools, okay, that many translators use it nowadays. So we also have the sponsor from main source, okay, that's because they have a very good marketing strategies. They sponsor all the universities, okay, in the I think Europe or in foreign countries. So that many translators use it. Okay, they possess the familiarities of how to use main source, so that is very popular nowadays. So that I think it takes another shade of market shares of the market of CAT. So this year they rename it, is called phrase. They call it phrase TMS, and then the localization tools also called phrase, so that they combine together. So they have different collaborations between among different countries, and it's totally online, okay, so that you can access from any platform anywhere. So that's why I think why it's so popular nowadays, because it's the convenience, okay, then in how we can access, okay, their platforms. So this is the interface, so that it's totally online, and you register for the account, and then you can use it like this. Okay, so here it also provide you to align. Okay, here very tiny. Okay, it has the button align, so you can import or export your TMX directly, or you can import text for alignment. So if you import text for alignment here, that it would save on a Excel file. Okay, so you have to. It does not has its own interface for you to edit the alignment, but it helps you to do alignment and then put it into an Excel file. Okay, then you can adjust and then import it back, okay, to the system. So this is some settings. Okay, it provides a lot of quality assurance check, and then a lot of settings that you can set in your translation project. And then I think it performs very good on what we call translation project management. Okay, it provides a lot of function for you to manage your project. And then they also help you to generate some graphic results. Okay, that is the percentage on the course, time, okay, and then the communications between your group of translator. Okay, it provides a lot of function there. That after I finish my part, okay, that it would prompt, okay, to the next translator or reviewer, okay, to help to let them know that oh, I have finished my part. Okay, they know they have to follow up. Okay, like that. Another one is a trio. Okay, that is from French. Okay, the software is called Deja Vu, and it's from a trio solution, and is a traditional translation memory form system. Okay, they also provide their own alignment tools that you can edit. Okay, so the alignment tool is quite convenient. Okay, in Deja Vu, you can edit, and then you can pour your result into your translation memory. And then this is the translation interface, okay, for Deja Vu. So this is WordFast, okay, so from France, okay, as I mentioned, that anywhere is free online, and then Pro is the licensed version. Okay, so we have to pay attention. WordFast, okay, the alignment tools only work on the online platform. Okay, you have to upload your file and download the files, and then you can, after you aligned, and then you can import your file into the Pro version. So this is the alignment. You can import, upload your files by pairs, and then after you do alignment, you can download it. So this is the translation interface. So yeah, some functions that you can make use of for the CAT. And then, okay, so this is the Pro version. Okay, the interface is like this. Okay, you can upload your file and then create your project. So another one would be Across. Okay, so this one is free of charge, okay, for students. Okay, if you're a student, you can register and then you go online, and then you can download and install on your own platform. Okay, so that you can install. So it also has the alignment function and provide you the alignment interface, okay, to adjust the result. And this is the translation interface. So for localization, okay, so basically those are CAT. So for localization, is relatively newer than CAT, okay, in terms of concept. And then I think there are two popular tools that we use. Okay, one is Localize, is this one. So as you can see, it work with many, they call apps, actually are plug-in. Okay, they make use of those apps to create something they can integrate with your localization project. So this is the interface. So you can make use of their interface to extract all the translatable content, and then you translate, and then you can put it back into your apps. Okay, so then you can create your own apps projects, So the other one is Pasolo. Pasolo has a longer history on software localization tools. It's also developed by Caritas. So it helps you to extract what we call, for example, you have an software. You can extract all the translatable text and then create different language pair here. And then when you double click, and then you can do the translation. Okay, so that this is the translation, and then you can apply to the programming files. So the last one I want to introduce is the phrase, okay, because it combined with ManSource, okay, that is the localization tools for ManSource. It's similar to Localize, okay, that it has a lot of plugin and here API. So I think the most useful we will use it, okay, is WordPress and also Fridgemath, okay, and then they have over-the-air function that is simultaneous release, okay, of your output. So this is the interface for translating the keys. So these are the keys, and you translate, and you can also get suggestions from MP. So this is a content in context editor. So when you edit, so for example, if this is an app or a website, then you can just what you see is what you get. Okay, that's after you edit how it would look like. So the last one is Transifex. Okay, so Transifex show you that the trend is nowadays many tools. Okay, they want to transform. Okay, from CAT to localization. So they claim that what they are doing now is localization. So this is the interface. So this is similar. I think it's very similar to Smart CAT. So lastly, I want to show you some screenshots. Okay, so this is a small project, okay, done by our students. Is making use of Fridgemath. Okay, they would use Fridgemath to create the app interface. Okay, so they create the interface for our web page. Okay, so that transform it into an app. So this is the English version, and then they make use of Localize to do translation, and then translated output, okay, is in Chinese version. And the other one is this is a totally a new project. Okay, so that one of our students, she create a what we call terminology database for wedding. Okay, so that she create her own web. Okay, like this. Okay, from I think she used Localize also. Okay, create her own app, okay, mobile apps, okay, in English version, and then make use of it to do a translated Chinese version. So in conclusion, those CAT developers nowadays try to transform or adding more capabilities of localization in their projects and their tools. So because of the need for digital content translation, so some would like Localize, they only focus on localization. But like phrase, okay, it has its counterpart on TMS, that is ManSource, and then some like Transifex, okay, they would try to migrate from traditional CAT to localization. So as a result, with local internationalization, many digital content that we need to translate, so that we would like to use more concepts on make use of the tools of localization, and then make the whole process easier. Okay, so that's all. Thank you.